Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm MrRishi, and today we're actually live on stream doing a VOD review with chat here. So what I'm going to be reviewing today is the PlusOP Tourney number 54 semifinals match I had against Luluchroar. It's going to be the game 3 match, as it was an insane game 3. We are 1-1 obviously at this point. We just came out of an insane game 2 where I believe it was I who barely brought it back. And here Plus is. And then let's go to over here. Alright, so now let's look at this pick ban a little bit. Okay, I'll just let it play while we look at this. Here's my team over here. We have Luluchroar with the amazing Lumas, by the way. But they lead with the Noxalal plus 2-wire, and right here I'm thinking like, okay, Noxalal plus 2-wire thrives off of low tempo leads, so I wanted to make sure to match the tempo or the pacing of the Nox 2-wire lead and go with something that can hit hard and go fast, right? And my choice there was Grandpa Tataru. The reason is because I can stare extra energy slam into either the Nox or 2-wire slot and do big damage, okay? While at the same time getting Major Slash up on Tataru, getting Turbo up on Grandpa and Tataru both, and keeping my follow-up options like very heavily available, right? I decided to pick up the Turok as they have a lot of Earth weaknesses. I do decide that an Anatan ban is the best, as earlier in the match, Anatan plus 2-wire was just too much for me to handle, and it was very hard for me to break through with how Luluch was positioning everything. So now we're getting in here, we're seeing the Ionis proc, we see common factor on the 2-wire. No, you cannot change teams, or you cannot change teams mid-deck or mid-match or mid-tourney. Alright, so now we have, let's pause this here. We have the sweatband and the marbles procking. Marbles I already knew. It wasn't really a big thing in my decision making. But right here I'm thinking like, hey, which one do I want to target? I was contemplating a lot, but I decided I'm pretty sure Luluch has hologram on their 2-wire, so I don't want to put a lot of pressure on the 2-wire just yet. But at the same time, if I do get the damage on the 2-wire, I may be able to finish off with HKS afterwards. I do believe I end up going for the Nox though, as that is one of the that's a stare user, which allows him to boost the attack or the damage of his Tems in the backline and the 2-wire onto my Grandpa or Tataru, or whichever Tem gets the stare, right, as it lowers the defense by 2. I'm going to be using the stare myself on my Nox, as I said, following up with that extra energy slam. And we actually see them going for the stare on the Grandpa. Very good play by them, as my Grandpa is a very big threat to their team. It can turbo up everything on it. It allows me to also just hypno whatever I want, since Anatan was actually their E-Drink user. And that was another reason why Anatan was such a big deal for me, is because I was forced to deal with the Anatan. A lot of my team revolves around this control aspect of being able to outspeed or like bamboozle or hypno my opponent, while on the other hand, like, I can't do that with the Anatan if it's E-Drink. This Tourney was not open info, as I did not know it was E-Drink Anatan until I actually hypnoed it once. And so we see the Brocklum swap in. Very important play right here that Luluch did. As you can see, there is exhaust on all my Tems. It's because he has Mom's Lunch Brocklum, okay? That makes it the stamina usage that I used on my Tem insanely high, right? They also go for the turbo attack on the Grandpa. Very good turn by Luluch, taking out my Grandpa, taking damage on the Brocklum. Brocklum was kind of important for their team, but not nearly as important for for their team as Grandpa was for my team. My Turok is opened up a little bit, but they still have a Tremorian with Frond Whip, which could be a big problem for it. Now here I decided to go Valier. Mostly because I know that I can bamboozle myself and not take a Faraday cage from the 2-wire. And then right here, I'm like, okay, I'm not in a good spot, right? I need some tempo gain. I need to put Luluch in a position where my Volaren can get off purgations on my either Tataru or my Turok. But I also need to, at the same time, like, I need to save Tataru here. Because again, like I just said, I need purgations on it. But in order for that to happen, it needs to be at good health, right? I don't want to swap in Vola here. I swap in Turok instead. The reason why I don't want to swap in Vola, because again, I want it to be at a decent health in order for it to get those purgations off, since purgation is one priority. I get the bamboozle on the Turok, which allows me to block the uppercut. The reason why I did bamboozle the Turok, because if they did end up hitting me with a Faraday cage, they would have OX'd big time, putting them in a pretty bad board position the next turn. Okay, so this turn was actually horrid. I think I was when this next turn is like horrible. I'll say what I'm thinking though. I'm thinking, okay, I know that they have Drought on Broccolum. Drought, for those who don't know, actually applies 2 exhausts, or 2 exhausts and 2 Cs to the whole board while overexerting Broccolum, okay? Which may not sound that good at first, but Drought being 4 prio actually outspeeds the Chimerian, but since my Valier is Fat Burner and so fast, it actually underspeeds my Valier's Hypnosis. So if I Hypnosis Chimerian, it actually makes it so that Broccolum pressing Drought pushes off the sleep and allows them to attack with Chimerian, okay? Now, that might not sound like a big deal if I kill the Broccolum, and that is my plan. My plan is to Turbine the Broccolum and kill it. But we'll just have to see how that goes. So I go for the Hypnosis on the Chimerian like I said earlier. I already know it's heavy armor, so I don't have to worry about a bait proccing at all. And I go for the Turbine, like, okay, this is gonna kill, right? It's 31%, Broccolum's defense is not that high, and then it lives at 0.4. I'm like, oh crap. This isn't good. And then they get the Drought off. Chimerian's now awake. I essentially did nothing that turn except for get some damage on Broccolum. Chimerian hits me with the huge Frond Whip, taking my HP down to 15.1. And the biggest thing is that I also mess up the next turn. Right now, I'm like, I don't think I can win. Like, I was so close to clicking concede, but I like pulled my hand back. I'm like, you know what, Rishi? This is semifinals. If you're going down, you're gonna go down with a fight, not without a fight, right? So coming up here, I'm gonna be clicking Soul Steam on the Chimerian because I was like, after that turn, I was like, my mental was not good, right? And I completely forgot about Seized, okay? Seized makes it so that my Gravel Bag doesn't proc when I click Soil Steam, right? And I want to click Soil Steam here on the Chimerian to get damage on it, because how low stamina it is. And then I click Bamboozle on Valier just to make sure the Crystal Plume Gatling doesn't hit me. Click the Soil Steam, but as you see, no Gravel Bag proc, meaning that it does no damage to the Chimerian, or at least barely any, because it used my special attack, which 2x special attack is very low, and I have no investment in it, instead of my attack, since Gravel Bag didn't proc. Alright, and now I'm like, I have a decent board position, although the problem with my board position is that both of my, like, okay, if you don't factor in anything else except for the Tems on the board, I'm fine. But my Tems are at low stamina, which means I can't really do much outside of swap out the Turok for my Vola. Now, this is kind of where, oh, I completely forgot. I don't even swap out Turok for Vola. I actually stay in, Hypno with Valier. This was also probably a misplay. And then I Gravel Back Soul Steam with Turok, right? Which does allow me to get damage on the 2-wire. But here's the problem. I just double OX'd. Luluch can do anything he wants now. I double OX, Luluch can do absolutely anything. I can't click anything except rest or swap. I don't know, by OX I mean overexert. I should have said that earlier. But I know that Valier is going to be part of my win con for the late game, right? So what I can do is I just swap out Valier into Volorend, make it so that I don't take any of those toxic ticks on my Valier, because Valier won't take much from a Faraday cage, in all honesty. It's the toxic ticks that get applied from Synergy Faraday cage that I'm worried about. We see the Marvel's proc on the 2-wire. Noxalal swaps out. Tremorian swaps in. Again, not the best board state for me, except for the fact that he attacked Turok. Now that is a change in momentum almost. Like, no, okay, not a change in momentum. I'm still in a really bad spot. But what that allows me to do is that allows me to bring in, I believe I bring in my Tataru now. No, I bring in Valier. Okay, I think I bring... So the reason why I brought in Valier there is because I want to save HP on Tataru. I'm already forgetting my plays, even though it was last night. Let's see if he presses X here. Here we go. As I said earlier, I wanted to keep Tataru at full HP, right? In order... Because I knew Tataru was gonna need... Or was going to be carrying the game. I need to get a purgation or two on it so that Tataru could carry the game, while also making it so that it was at like full HP when I got those purgations on, or at least close to full HP, right? And so I'm like, let's bring in Valier. I can protect my Volorend a little bit. I'll have enough stamina for one Bamboozle since I was in the back for one turn. And we'll see how it goes from there, right? And then I make a play, right? I'm like, you know what? We're gonna go for a play, because think about it. All right, let me try to go back here a little bit. I'm in a really bad spot, right? If I don't start going for reads, I'm not gonna win. Yeah, I guess that's one thing. Like, one of the biggest things that you should take away from this VOD review is you need to know when you need to read and when not to. If you don't make reads when you're behind and try to outplay your opponent, you're not going to win. You're just going to lose less, right? Okay, so we do see the Feathergat and the CPG both on Volt, which I do not like, but I get the purgation I talked about on my Tataru, right? Now my Tataru is at +2 attack, meaning it's plus 50% attack damage. Tataru already does an insane amount of damage, right? And this just allows me to do more. So I know that both Tataru and Vola outspeed Tremorian. And they also both outspeed 2-wire. So what I end up doing actually is that I go for... I also know, like, I see Tremorian stamina. Tremorian stamina is very low. So what I can do is I actually have Held Anger up on Tataru. And I can go for Held Anger on 2-wire. And then I can Feathergat the Tremorian if I choose to. I can also go for Toxic Plume and Held Anger. That's also another option. So if we speed up a little here, I think we can. Oh, went a little too far, I think. Here we go. All right, yeah, so they swap out the Tataru here, or they swap out the 2-wire here. I make another read. I predicted them to do something like this, like swap out the Brocklum, right? I could have gone for another Purgation, but instead I Toxic Plume. And then I go for the Major Slash or Held Anger here. Which one? Major Slash. As I knew that that plus Tick would kill the 2-wire when I was at +2, or when I'm at +2 attack, right? Alright, and now right here, I'm like, I actually run the calc. I'm like, do I think that this Held Anger from my +2 Tataru kills this 2-wire? And it does like 75% to max HP 2-wire. So I felt pretty comfortable clicking it and then just going for another Purgation on my Tataru, I believe. Or I go for the damage on Tremorian. I don't remember. But either way, both of those plays are like good plays. Or do I swap onto Valier? Either way though, like I don't think you ever swap out to Valier here. If I do swap out to Valier, that is a misplay. Because that just makes it take damage for free, and I don't really need Vola for anything else here. Let's speed up a little bit. Sorry, I didn't have time to edit this, guys, before... Oh, here we go. Or else this downtime wouldn't be in here. So I go for the Held Anger on the 2-hour. As I said earlier, it does take it out. And they go for the CPG. I believe... Oh, yeah, they go for CPG on Tower. I think this was a misplay for them. I think they should have gone for it on Vola. As it would have prevented them... Or prevented me from getting another purgation off, right? I guess that isn't necessarily a misplay, because my Volaran was at low stamina, so they knew it would OX from any move. But now essentially what I can do here is I can just swap out the Valier, or swap in Valier for the Tataru. And I know my Valier, because of effective denial, decreasing the damage I take from super effective moves by 30%. I know I never die to a double-in unless they use Stone Ball. But if I do die to a double-in, that means they had to CPG me, right? And that means that they OX'd. And if they OX on Chimerian, I win the game. Alright, so now I bring in the Tataru. I'm able to Hypnosis plus Major Slash the Ruler slot. Or, is that what I do? I believe that is what I do. Yeah. Yeah. And then I Major Slash the Ruler slot. This does huge damage, as Soft Touch makes it so that they don't wake up, and I do extra damage to them. CPG goes on the Valier. And then all I have to do in order to guarantee the win is I know my Tataru does not die to a single Frond Whip. And in order to guarantee the win, I just need to Bamboozle my Valier while extra energy slamming the Ruler. This was this was an insane game. We'll go back over it just a little bit, just to go over hey, what do we need? What are some things I did well? What are some things I didn't do well, right? Just for takeaways for the video, I guess, or for the VOD review. I get the Seraph. Yeah, I get the Major Slash, and that Chimerian is now dead. So, okay, main things to take away. First of all, when you get screwed over in a turn, take it slow, okay? If you just got screwed over, you know your mental is not going to be on top of it. Or you're not going to be on top of your mental, okay? You're going to be a bit flustered. You're going to be like, okay, what do I need to do now? You need to take a deep breath and just breathe out. That's one thing that's okay, it may seem like bad advice or minuscule advice or you don't need to actually do that. But you honestly need to take a deep breath when you get screwed over. Your mental state heavily affects your gameplay, and if you're not in a good mental state, you will not be able to play well or at the best of your ability. Another thing is, this is more gameplay oriented now, this piece of advice, is know when to read, okay? If you're down bad, if you're down and you need to come back, you need to start trying to make plays. There may be a point where you can't even make plays to come back, and that happens. That just means that you need to start reading, or you need to start predicting what your opponent does and not covering options earlier, right? And I guess what I should say is, the reason why I'm talking about reading and you need to read at a certain point is there's a lot of times, especially in early game, that you don't actually need to make reads. There are plays that you can do to cover most of the options that your opponent goes for, and those are considered safe plays. going for safe plays and going for reads are two very different things, right? Going for safe plays, you risk more, while... Sorry, going for safe plays, you risk less while getting less of a reward. But going for reads, you risk more while getting more of a reward if they pay off. And yeah, I think that's going to be all for my VOD review today. Again, this was... Shout out to Plus for hosting this tournament in the first place. Shout out to Luluch for playing so well. Like, that... I would say that that might be one of my favorite sets I've ever played in this game. Yeah, shouts to everyone who's watching. Hope everyone has an amazing day, week in life. I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Peace.